Let the games begin. Victory or death!
I think a Blood Razor is a good enough keep against Secret Mage. Kills Mana Worm and Arcanologist, Kirin Tor Mage, all that good stuff. And then the Stonehill's obviously a good pickup. Got a nice turn 2 play. Even if it's explosive runes, I only take 1 damage. Looks like it's Counterspell or Ice Block, neither of which I really care about. I can just never play the Spellstones pretty comfortably. And he most likely dies in Fatigue to Aluneth, so the Ice Block doesn't matter. So Ally Armorsmith is significantly better than the Stegodon, but I can play the Stegodon next turn. I have a Blood Razor for next turn though, and the Ally Armorsmith is just like... it's so much better than the Stegodon. You win this matchup by gaining too much armor for them to kill you, and this guy gains armor.
We have many secrets.
Blood Razor kills that. Unfortunately, he plays a secret, which I'm not going to be able to test for before an Ally Armorsmith comes out. But I did pick up a second Ally Armorsmith, so even if it's Potion of Polymorph or Explosive Runes, maybe it's not that big a deal.
I'm late. I'm late.
I can actually clear this thing if I play the Ravaging Ghoul instead of an Ally Armorsmith, and it tests for a secret, so I think I like it. Do I start with the hit? Probably don't really want to put damage on my guy for no reason. It's also better against Potion of Polymorph. Okay, so Counterspell Ice Block, I guess? I don't think either of these is a Primordial Glyph secret, but maybe it is. Even if it is, though, it's one that I don't care about, so it's fine. Yep, there's the Aluneth, so I need to start gaining armor off these guys. Armorsmith is a nice pickup, too.
An incredible discovery.
Alright, so Armorsmith plus Ally Armorsmith, take some easy trades. Gain 3 immediate armor and set up to gain a heck of a lot more.
We have many secrets.
An incredible discovery.
Okay, so that one's almost certainly Explosive Trap. But it shouldn't matter too much. Or not Explosive Trap, Explosive Runes. Wrong class. So I can gain a good amount of armor off this guy. Probably lead with the Spiteful Summoner. Take a little bit less damage, but then I don't get to hero power, but I also get a 7-drop, so seems worth it.
Pinch of death cup. Heal of shoe.
Oh my god, Baron Geddon is so bad. I think this is worth playing here. Alright, I want to keep the Armorsmith alive because it gives me a lot of armor. Phil cleared his board. He doesn't have that many cards left in his deck. I'm at 45. The Geddon was like pretty bad, but maybe it's not bad enough that I'll lose because of it.
Excuse me, you are on fire.
Okay, he decided he needed to kill it.
I'm late.
Hopefully this glyph doesn't give him damage.
The power is here. You need only to seize it.
I could clear with the Fool's Bane here. I take, what, 14 damage? Heal up for 2, get to keep my Armorsmith alive. Not sure how good keeping the Armorsmith alive is. And also just bump here, play a Primordial Drake, kills this guy. I think I like the Fool's Bane here. Hopefully I don't regret this. I guess I could go Ravaging Ghoul instead of hitting this again. Have to trade off my Armorsmith. Let's do that, actually. Don't take too much damage, plus it sets up for Primordial Drake plus the weapon to kill something next turn if it's not good enough. Which I guess would pretty much just be a Firelands Portal minion. Okay, he's gonna freeze my face. I think I'm fine at this point, though. Play this guy. He's bigger than the Primordial Drake, and... well, mostly just that. He's bigger than the Primordial Drake. I don't think the Drake's hero power or battle cry is going to be relevant past this point. So that was his first point of fatigue. He's taking 2, 3, 4, 5. Which is not going to kill him. But I have a hard time imagining that he can kill me from 28 before he takes the fatigue at the end of his next turn. Yep. Too much armor. I'm gonna toss the quest against Paladin. Haven't been queuing into too many control Paladins recently. So I guess the question is if I'm gonna be playing Doomsayer here.
Greetings.
I guess it depends what he does. Looks like he did nothing. I swear to God, if this guy's control Paladin, I'm gonna flip my shit.
Put this apple on your head.
Okay, Knife Juggler. Never been so happy to see a Knife Juggler. I think I just played Doomsayer here. Unfortunately, it doesn't really carve that nicely into the Bloodraiser, but this could be like a coin call to arms turn. It trades directly with the Knife Juggler, prevents him from setting anything up. I think that's worth it. Alright, cool. I wonder if the hit with the weapon there tells me that he has a lot of weapons in his hand. Wow, no call to arms. Okay, cool. We got a winnable game, boys. We got a winnable game. That's still pretty tough, though. Coin out a 1-drop. Oh, coin out the secret, of course. Well, let's see if I can just play this guy here. He actually took Repentance. I'm irritated. Hit there, though. I did pick up the Fire Plume's Heart, which is good since I drew both of my Spiteful Summoners. Would have been a disaster to play this and get Angry Chicken. It's one of the weird things about playing a quest with a Spiteful. Gonna leave up the Armorsmith, huh? Wonder if I can make him regret that. Probably not. I'm just gonna play a Spiteful Summoner here, though. I have 28 health. That seems like plenty to play a lot of stats instead of doing something defensive. And what defensive play am I gonna make? Well, that's good. Kill a Knife Juggler and pop 2 bubbles. And also put my 4/4 down to 4/2, but you know, whatever. He pretty much has to, like, trade his whole board off into this, I think. Well, maybe if he has, like, a Cold Light Seer, then he can ignore the Baron Geddon. But that's dangerous. Okay. Yeah, that's an easy kill on Mr. Geddon. Let's try another one of these. Don't need to play this first, because if I hit a taunt minion, it still doesn't count since this says play. And I did hit a taunt minion. But again, it wouldn't have counted. It's also possible that it was just straight up wrong to ever play the quest here. I really doubt I'll ever finish it at this point in the game. And keeping it in hand, it could have been just like an extra threat. He'd be like, oh no, what's that card? Is it Sinjin Shieldmaster? I don't know what card he would be expecting from my deck. But yeah, it could be a thing. Okay, this guy soaked a lot of damage. I can double Whirlwind here with Ravaging Ghoul and the Bloodraiser. Kills these two, send the Bloodraiser in here, this guy in here. So I could leave him with just a 3-2 Murloc or a 5-2 Beast. What if I just play the Primordial Drake? Doesn't actually kill that much stuff. So let's just go Weapon plus Ravaging Ghoul. Then we'll hit into this guy. And what's scarier? A Beast or a Murloc with 2 less attack? Honestly, probably the Murloc. This is fine. I have 3 AoE with Weapon plus Primordial Drake. I don't know if I'd call that fine, but it's not that big of a deal.
The light dims, but we fight.
He makes the trade. Okay. So Weapon plus Primordial Drake is a clear here. Instead of that, I could just go Weapon, which kills his 2 smallest guys. And then I could play the Dry Whisker Armor for 8 armor, and the Spellstone to make a couple 5/5s. I do like making a couple 5/5s. I don't love leaving stuff on his board if I don't have to. I guess I could also just go Primordial Drake Pass. It kills most of the scary stuff, leaves the other 2 things in Bloodraiser range, and it leaves them on the board to give me 2 armor out of the Dry Whisker. Let's just go Primordial Drake Pass. It's kind of weird because the Primordial Drake is a faster card than the Mithril Spellstone, but I think I'll have time to play both. Blessing of Kings? That would actually let him kill my guy. That's just strictly wrong, isn't it? No, it keeps the taunt up, so I can't hit where I want with the weapon. Never mind, he's smart, I'm dumb. But I can still clear with the second Bloodraiser. Draw a couple cards off the Acolyte. And then we smack here and set up a second Acolyte. And we even buffed this thing up to the tier 3.
Your magic shall not save you.
Okay.
Reporting for duty.
I guess I should use my weapon to clear out his board. Gain some armor. And pave the way for the Spellstone if I don't draw something good off the Acolyte. Stonehill Defender is good, but I don't think it's better than playing 15-15. This play sets up lethal if he doesn't have a taunt or something. Alright, Noble Sack prevents lethal, but just barely.
Reporting for duty. Separating the pain.
Did have the Noble Sack. I don't think there are any charged taunt minions that I can get here. I'll just take Sinjin because, I don't know, reasons. Doesn't really matter what I do here.
Reporting for duty.
And we get him for 10.
You are past redemption.
So before I actually talk about the deck, can I talk about how uncool it is that Dumpster Legend plays against rank 10 players every game? Because it's really uncool. Like, half the people I play against don't even have real decks. What's the point in me climbing to Legend if I don't actually get to play against Legend caliber players? Like, I know it's my fault for just completely tanking my MMR, but still. So anyway, on to the deck. When you look at the current metagame, most of the aggro decks that you're going to run into are going to be Secret Mage and Paladin. And the deck actually does reasonably well against both of those, but it's because it has like whirlwind effects, and it has taunts, and it gains armor and stuff. It doesn't have anything to do with the quest. And then when you look at the slower decks in the metagame, there's Control Warlock, and Control Warlock is especially difficult to handle with the quest, because you're randomly firing out 8 damage, and if you hit Voidlord, it doesn't even kill the Voidlord. And then if you kill the Voidlord by some other means before using your hero power, then they have a bunch of 1/3s, and it's not even really a big deal to them if you hit one of those with the 8 damage. Plus they have 2 10-mana cards in their deck that put 7 minions on the board. So it's really hard to get your hero power to go face consistently. And then the other slow deck is Priest. And the hero power is actually reasonably good against Priest, but it turns out if you play like any of your mid-game taunt minions, they just play Potion of Madness and kill you with Inner Fire. Control Priest is a little bit more reasonable. It might even be a pretty decent matchup, but it still feels pretty bad when they play Cabal Shadow Priest and steal your Ally Armorsmith. It just seems like the Warrior quest is not well positioned in this meta. But even outside of the meta, the deck does have some issues. We've committed to playing the Spiteful Summoner and Mithril Spellstone package, which on its own is pretty heavy. And then I think it's probably just a mistake to play a Quest Warrior deck without the Curator Primordial Drake package. So right there we've already got 7 cards that cost more than 6 mana. And then when you start looking at some of the more appealing stuff like Gem-Studded Golem, it's just kind of hard to find the room. So the deck is super top heavy, and there's really not a whole lot you can do about it without cutting one of these major packages from the deck, which I wasn't willing to do. And then the other big issue with this deck is you don't have Execute or Brawl. So if your opponent plays a really wide board and you don't have Brawl, your hero power is just like never going face again. Lack of Brawl is probably a pretty big reason why this deck stands almost no chance against Control Warlock. And then in the case of lacking an Execute, if your opponent ever plays a single big minion, it can sometimes be very difficult to recover. So the lack of spells I think is definitely a problem, and unfortunately, I think the best way to play Quest Warrior is just getting rid of the Spiteful Summoner package. Even if all you did was take out these 2 cards for 2 copies of Execute and 2 copies of Brawl, I think that would drastically increase your win rate with this deck. And then of course once you don't have the Spiteful Summoner package, you can start playing like Sleep with the Fishes and stuff, which also makes the deck better, but probably still not super competitive. A couple more things to mention. I started playing Doomsayer. As I was noting with Brawl, I seem to have a lot of trouble with wide boards, so I figured I can just play Doomsayer behind a taunt. It goes off pretty often, and that's my AoE. And it's a reasonably good card in the early game against aggro decks, so I think the Doomsayer is okay. And then I just recently realized that I just wasn't playing Tar Creeper, and that seems like a mistake, so I put in 2 Tar Creepers. Although the 3 slot is a little heavy now, but all of my 3s are pretty damn good, including the Tar Creeper.